Today we are going to take the last part of our 6th chapter, the biology of movement. Okay, so previous classes we have studied about the skeletal system, about the axial skeleton, appendicular skeleton. Our skeletal system consists of the axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. This is and total number of bones in our body, that is 206 bones are present in our body. About all those things, about the distribution of bones in our body, all these things we have studied in our previous class, is it? And the different types of joint we have studied. In this class we are going to study about the structure of a typical joint. Okay, different joints we have studied: ball and socket joint, gliding joint, and hinge joint. Likewise, different joints, 4 different kinds of joints we have studied. And here we are going to study about the structure of a typical joint, a normal joint. We can see the structure, typical joint. It's a very important topic. You have to study about the labeling of that picture. So in this, the parts are, you can see the bone, then synovial membrane secretes synovial fluid. And what is synovial fluid's function is, functions as a lubricant between the bones. So synovial fluid functions as the lubricant between two bones. Then capsule covers and protects the joints. You can see that the picture itself. Capsule covers and protects the joints. Then cartilage reduces friction between the bones. So cartilage reduces the friction between two bones. Then ligaments ensures that bones are not displaced and holds them in position. So ligaments holds the bones in the position. Once more I will repeat it for you. The parts of a typical joint is 2 bones will be there. Then synovial membrane that secretes the synovial fluid, and synovial fluid functions as a lubricant between the bones in order to avoid the friction that while walking and all or doing any other activities. Then capsule, you can see in the picture, capsule covers and protects the joints. Then about the cartilage, reduces friction between the bones. Then ligaments, ligaments ensures that bones are not displaced and they are in the correct position. That means ligaments hold the bone in the position, in the correct position. That's about the parts of a typical joint. Is it clear for you? So synovial membrane, synovial fluid, then ligaments, capsule, all these are the parts of a typical joint or a normal joint. Is it clear for you? You have to study to label the parts of a typical joint. Okay, then next is about the skeletal and muscular disorders. What happened if what are the diseases happening for the skeletal system, or if any disorder happens to our skeletal and muscular system, we can see that skeletal and muscular disorders or diseases. So diseases affecting our skeletal system, we can see that. Okay, that is rheumatic arthritis. The disease name is rheumatic arthritis and caused by infection in joints, injuries, then degenerative changes due to old age. So when it is old age, arthritis will be there. Then damage, next reason for coming of rheumatic arthritis is damage to cartilage. Arthritis means vadam. You have heard about the old age people, most of the old age people telling about this disease, vadam. Damage to cartilage. Reason for that is this, damage to cartilage. Then severe pain, incapable of moving joints. The second disease is dislocation. Dislocation, about the dislocation. In the dislocation, you can see that Displacement of bonds in joints. Joint is in the position in the that is this displacement of bonds in joints. Damage to ligaments. Ligaments are the structures that is keeping the bonds in its position. So damage to ligaments, then severe pain, oedema, and difficulty in movement. Oedema means swelling. So severe pain will be the oedema, swelling in that position. Oedema means the swelling. And difficulty in movement. We can't move if there is dislocation. Now, these are the two diseases, and other diseases are also there that we can see now. There are some more diseases, that is sprain, sprain. Sprain, that is the stretching or breaking of ligaments. So sprain is caused by the stretching or breaking of ligaments. Severe pain and oedema. So for sprain also, severe pain will be there and oedema is there. Then osteoporosis. It's a condition. That disease is a condition in which bones become brittle and cause fracture. Bones ഒക്കെ പെട്ടെന്ന് ഒടിഞ്ഞു പോണ പോലെയുണ്ട് പെട്ടെന്ന് ചതവ് ബോൺസ് വരും. Then this may be due to deficiency of calcium. Then defects in metabolic activities and deficiency of vitamin D. All these are reasons for the osteoporosis. Then severely affects hip bone, wrist, and vertebral column. Then next is muscular dystrophy. Muscular dystrophy is a condition that leads to degeneration of muscles due to various reasons. Then muscles become weak, generally affect boys. Okay. So these are the diseases affecting the skeletal and muscular system. So due to any disorders, the diseases affecting our skeletal and muscular system is this oedema, rheumatic arthritis, and then all these diseases are happened. Is it clear for you? So what happened? We should care. Then osteoporosis. All these are the diseases and severe diseases that is happening due to the defects in our muscular and skeletal system. So we should take care of our skeletal system. Is it clear for you? Then next about the skeleton outside the muscles. So for us, the skeleton is present inside our body, is it? Here, some of the organisms are having skeleton outside the muscles. We can see, and that is known as exoskeleton. So what about the exoskeleton? We can see that now. Exoskeleton means outside skeleton. Okay, so in these organisms, all these are familiar organisms for you. So in these organisms, what a skeleton is outside, exoskeleton is found. And found on bodies of arthropods includes insects, spiders, then crustaceans. All these are coming under the division arthropods, or coming under the group arthropods. Okay, in animals, and there are different groups according to their characteristics, according to their body features. Different groups are in animals. So among such groups, one of the group is arthropod, and that arthropods comes the exoskeletal animals. So found on the bodies of arthropods. Example is given there: insects, spiders, all these comes under the arthropods. Then are thin and flexible at the joints. So their exoskeleton is thin and flexible at the joints. Allow complex movements, that is web spinning spiders, etc. For example is given, that is web spinning spiders. Okay. So exoskeleton means the skeleton that is present outside the body. That is about the exoskeleton. It's clear for you. Then next is the locomotion without skeleton. So there are certain organisms having the locomotion without the skeleton. We can see that. What are the locomotory movements without the skeleton? We can see it now. So locomotion without the skeleton. Locomotion means what? Movement without the skeleton. So these are the organisms that are without the skeleton, moving without the skeleton. Paramecium. Cilia enable movement. The structure cilia you can see in the picture, hair-like structure present on the paramecium. So cilia enable movement of paramecium in water. Cilia are small protein filaments seen on the cell surface. So on the cell of the paramecium, small structures, protein filaments are present and it is called cilia. This cilia helps in the movement of paramecium. Paramecium does not consist of skeleton. Okay. Then euglena. Locomotory structure of the euglena are flagella. You can see in the picture a structure named flagella. These are long whip-like protein filaments. Whip means chatavara. Whip meaning is chatavara. So you can see in the picture itself. It's a long whip-like protein filament. That's a flagella. And that flagella helps this euglena in the movement. And there it's E is there, E is silent. That's why we are pronouncing it as euglena. Is it clear for you? Then comes the earthworm. There are two types of muscles in earthworm. They are circular muscles and longitudinal muscles. Locomotion in earthworm is affected by the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of muscles. So during the movement, the muscles will contract and relax. So with the contraction and relaxation of these two kinds of muscles, locomotion or movement is possible in the earthworm. Apart from these muscles, tiny structures projecting out from the body called setae. You can see in the picture, setae also help in locomotion. So in the earthworm, what all things are helping? Two kinds of muscles and locomotory structure called setae also helps in the locomotion. Okay, that's about the organism without a skeleton and the movement in organisms without a skeleton. Next is about the locomotion and movement. You can see some pictures regarding the locomotion and the movement. Yes, here you can see Arctic tern. It's a bird. Okay, this gullivalent travels every year to and fro between the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, so this bird will travel, Arctic tern, and that bird will travel every year. It will travel to and fro. That means it will go there and will return to and fro between the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, then monarch butterfly. A butterfly, short-lived butterfly with its life dedicated for migration. Migrating means what? It's traveling from one place to another in search of food or because of climate. Likewise, so many reasons are there for the migration. So this butterfly is also a kind of migrating butterfly. Then humpback whale, a giant mammal that travels up to 5,000 kilometers for food and reproduction. This also will move from one place to another. That's about 5,000 kilometers. It may move for the food and for reproduction, for getting the mates. That's about the locomotion and the movement. Example of certain organism that is showing the locomotion and the movement. This is clear for you. And the last topic of our chapter is various types of plant movements. And so we all know that not only in animals, plants are also showing some certain movements. And they cannot move from one place to another. But where they are standing from there itself, they are showing some movements. we can see how the plants are moving, how they showing the movement. Different kinds of movements are there in the case of plants. That is, you can see in the picture itself, and the plants that is growing towards, the stem will grow towards light and root grows away from the light, and that is known as phototropism. In phototropism, the stem grows towards light and root grows away from light. Okay, so always the stem grow towards the light. Then certain chemicals produced by the ovary helps the growth of pollen tube towards the ovary. And so, your 8th standard, you have studied about the fertilization in plants. So, at that time, when pollen grain fall on the stigma of a flower, the pollen tube is developed. And this pollen tube is developed towards the ovary because of the production of certain chemicals. And that helps the pollen tube to certain chemicals produced by the ovary help the growth of the pollen tube towards the ovary. Then that is chemotropism. So phototropism means the stem will grow towards the sunlight and root will grow away from the sunlight. Chemotropism means certain chemicals produced by the ovary help the growth of pollen tube towards the ovary. Then hydrotropism, stem growth away from water, root grow towards the water. That is hydrotropism. That is, once again I will repeat for you, stem grow away from water and root grow towards the water. That is hydrotropism. Then haptotropism. Haptotropism means climbers grow towards and around a support. Haptotropism. Climbers grow towards and around a support. Okay. The last one is the geotropism. Geotropism means stem grow against the gravity, roots grows towards gravity. Always root is growing downward. That is towards the gravity. Always stem will grow upward against the gravity. So that is geotropism. Is it clear for you? Which are the different kinds of plant movement? Phototropism, chemotropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, haptotropism. All these are the different types of movement shown by the plants. Is it clear for you? So by this topic, our chapter is completed. If you are having any doubt, we can clear through the WhatsApp. Read the chapter very well. Okay, complete your notes. Okay, thank you.